चालू हो गई. Please, do you
Your
want to start?
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor, the council seeks permission to proceed the case.
Present.
Good afternoon. I am Girish Kumar, appearing on behalf of People's Republic of Tulip versus Republic of Daffodil, and where People's Republic of Tulip is applicant in this case, uh, in dispute between People's Republic of Tulip versus Republic of Daffodil. Now, statement of facts. People's Republic of Tulip and Republic of Daffodil are two countries in the existing international legal border. People's Republic of Tulip was colonized by the Republic of Daffodil for the years. People's Republic of Tulip got independence in 1955 and also it became member of United Nations in 1956. After decolonization, total population of People's Republic of Tulip comprises 75% ethnic community and 25% non-ethnic community. Incident of violence between majority ethnic community and ethnic community became frequent. So, as per the civil society organization, report violence of proliferated after non-ethnic community people took up arms to resist atrocities against them. Over the years, this organizational group formed as Armed Group 5. Now, in 2010, due to frequent conflict and growing number of casualties, matter discussed at UNSC. On 13th of March 2011, government of Republic of Daffodil rejected it, and also it's further stated that armed group 5 member trained, funded, and armed by the Republic of Daffodil. On 11th of August 2011, 200 people killed in People's Republic of Tulip by an armed attack, and Armed Group 5 took its responsibility. On 12th August 2011, President of Republic of Tulip noted that Republic of Daffodil is responsible for the acts and it violates the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Tulip. Statement of jurisdiction. On 20th August 2011, the People's Republic of Tulip filed case in registry of the ICJ and application instituting proceeding against the Republic of Daffodil seeking reparation for damages. In pursuant
Under
of
which
Article
law? Under which law?
under 36 clause 2 statute of the court.
Whether both the republics are have accepted jurisdiction?
Yes, ma'am.
Under which article?
May ICJ Article 36 clause 1.
Okay, both of them have accepted any reservations?
Reservation. Ma'am, what reservation means, ma'am, here?
Have they excluded any matter from the jurisdiction of the ICJ?
Currently, I don't have any idea on this, ma'am.
Is there anything in the fact sheet which says so?
Ma'am, it in fact it is mentioned that the jurisdiction of both the nation will fall under the ICJ under Article 36(1).
Okay, continue.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Now, also under Article 36(1), paragraph 1 of the ICJ statute, the jurisdiction of the court comprises all cases which parties refer to it and all matters, especially provided for in Charter of the United Nations or in treaties and conventions in force. Now, statement of the issues. So, first issues arise here whether respondent is guilty for supporting violence in the territory of applicant. Second issue is whether respondent violates the territorial sovereignty of applicant guaranteed by UN. Third issue, ma'am, whether respondent is liable for funding armed group. Fifth. Fourth one, ma'am, what is the motive of respondent for funding to armed group. Fifth. Next one, ma'am, whether respondent is guilty for supplying arms to armed group 5. Next one, ma'am, whether respondent is liable for the death of 200 people in the government building that was blown up. Next one, ma'am, whether UN can protect human rights of the applicant. Further, whether respondent trained the member of the armed group 5. Next, whether respondent violating Article 2.4 of the UN Charter, and last one, ma'am, by forming armed group. Fifth, does respondent running any belligerent occupation? Now, summary of the arguments. ICJ has jurisdiction under Article 36(2) of the Statute of the Court to proceed this case because both parties accepted the jurisdiction on the condition of reciprocity over all international disputes. People's Republic of Tuli submitted that armed group FIF funding, training and armed by Republic of Djibouti. Further, People's Republic
So
of
what
Tuli
are the,
submitted.
are there any facts which suggest that Republic of Daffodil is funding these armed groups?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any fact?
Ma'am,
What are the facts? Which are the facts on the basis of which can be said that Republic of Daffodils is funding
there
the
committee,
armed groups?
ma'am. Okay, Your Honor. There was a committee formed by the UNSC, and in that that report, and report was prepared by that committee. Ma'am. In that, they mentioned that they are funding it.
And okay, continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, further, People's Republic of Tuli submitted that Republic of Daffodil violating its sovereignty and used force under international law. People's Republic of Tuli submitted that Republic of Daffodil violating Article 2.4 of the UN Charter. And People's Republic of Tuli also submitted that Republic of Daffodil violated human rights. Now, detailed pleading. So whether respondent is guilty for the supporting violence in the territory of applicant. Regarding this issue, ma'am, it's most respectfully submitted to the court that after decolonization, violence between majority ethnic community and non-ethnic community occurred frequently. Later, community people took up arms and formed a group known as Armed Group Fifth. In Democratic Republic of Congo versus Uganda, here DRC filed application in shooting proceeding against the Burundi, Uganda, and Rwanda for armed aggression committed in breach of the United Nations Charter. The DRC sought reparation for acts of international destruction. In this case, the court found that by actively extending military, logistic, economic, and financial support to irregular forces operating on the territory of the DRC, the Republic of Uganda had violated the principle of non-use of force in international relations and the principle of non-intervention. Regarding the issue whether respondent violates the territorial sovereignty of applicant guaranteed by UN, so it is well established fact that the respondent party funding armed group FIP, which is violation of external sovereignty and supporting going on, the violence is violation of the internal sovereignty. Here, according to Austin, ma'am, if a determinate human superior, not in the habit of the obedience to a like superior, receive habitual obedience from the bulk of a given society, and the society, including determinate superior, is a society political and independent. Max Huber also defined it as sovereignty in the relation between state signifies independence. Independence regard to a portion of the globe is the right to exercise therein to the exclusion of any other state, the function of a state. And further, ma'am, John Bodin also defined as the essential element of sovereignty is the law-making power of the sovereign. So here the act of the respondent violates the theory of sovereignty mentioned by them. Now, next issue, ma'am.
But what is the evidence, or what are the facts which say that it is that the group which attacked Tulip was at the instructions of Daffodil?
Ma'am, in the report by committee that was formed by the UNSC, they accepted that the
no, what
funding.
Did they accept? What did they accept?
That armed group FIB is funding by Daffodil, and this funding is
funding is found, but whether after the funding and training of the people there, Whether
ma'am.
it was the Republic of Daffodil which directed them to go and attack the building in Tulip.
Actually, all this funding also, they are also training also provided by ma'am Daffodil.
It's all right. That's all right. We all that's all part of the report. But
Yes,
whether
ma'am.
there is any evidence which shows that they were controlling everything with this group did, whose
Uh,
decision it was, whether it was a decision of the Republic of, whether it was a decision of Republic of Tulip to direct this group to go and attack the building in Tulip, whether the
Ma'am, it
Daffodil
is,
government, whether the Daffodil government directed the group to go and attack the building in Tulip.
ma'am, Daffodil government doesn't directly involved in it, but indirectly they were, ma'am.
So, what is the law point which says that even if they're indirectly responsible, they are liable?
Indirectly, ma'am, law
Whether we
they,
require their direct involvement or indirect involvement.
ma'am, actually this group was running by the Daffodil government, and this
Please
the act of blowing the building, ma'am.
show me in the fact sheet, where does it say they were running this group?
Ma'am, in fact, it is mentioned that the report by UNSC accepted that the funding and training done by the Daffodil.
Funding and training is different than control, na?
Yes,
Whether funding and training is equivalent to control.
whether no, ma'am, it is not in control. It is not equal to amount
If
to.
they're not in control, if they're not in control, then how can they be held liable?
Ma'am, on the ground of that, it is the violation of their sovereignty, ma'am.
Yeah, but it is not by the violation of the sovereignty by the other country. It is by a group in that country.
Yes,
That's a
it
different.
is.
That's a different. So whether if the group is working at the behest of the country, then of course they are representing the country. But if they're not working under their direction, then how would you say that they are still liable? Daffodil is still liable.
Daffodil is still liable, I can say, ma'am, because here respondent is Daffodil, ma'am.
Yeah. So just because you make them respondent doesn't mean that they're liable. You are saying they're liable. You have to prove it that they're liable. That it is their action. It is not a group in the country. So
Ma'am,
suppose
there are
a group in India goes and does something in another country. There are Khalistani groups in England which are doing something against India. Can we say that this is done by England? These are groups in some Khalistani groups in London. So just because a group in a country does something to another country, what are the circumstances in which we can say that it is the country which is using the group to attack the other country?
ma'am, the building blown up by that group who took the responsibility that yes, we blown up the building in which 200 people killed.
Right.
And there are many issues.
This action, whether the question is for simple for us, whether this action will amount to an act of Republic of Daffodil.
Ma'am,
Are
directly
there any
knowing
tests?
government.
Are there any tests to determine that this act can be attributed to the country and not only to the individual group?
Ma'am, there are, ma'am, 5 to 6 issues through which it could be clear that this country is directly funding and
Continue.
directly involving.
Okay, continue.
Now, ma'am, next, whether respondent is liable for funding armed group thieves. So, ma'am, according to the International Commission of Inquiry set up by UNSC, it is found that armed group theft was funded by the Republic of Daffodil. It is submitted on 12th March 2011. So this is the time of post global economic crisis as it came in 2008. So this was a time many people were unemployed, and due to unemployment, especially youth, many one started to join it. So on this ground, Respondent is liable for this issue. Next issue, what is the motive of respondent for funding to armed group FIP? So it is well established fact that respondent funded armed group FIP, which is a group known for spreading violence, terror, unlawful act in society. All these acts never led to progressive contribution in any society. So motive behind funding is not for any type of welfare of that state. Even it shows that their malified intention. Next, in whether respondent is guilty for the supplying arms to armed group FIP. So in
Okay,
international,
what is your prayer? What is your prayer?
ma'am, my prayer is for my prayer is that armed group FIP funded, trained, and armed by respondent, Republic of Daffodil. Respondent used force and violated territorial sovereignty of Republic of Tulip. Respondent violated Article 2.4 of UN Charter. Respondent violated human rights in applicant's territory. And respondent should pay for all type of loss incurred by armed group FIP.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks. Next is Ishwar Singh.
Thank you.
Is Ishwar Singh here? Can we see Ishwar Singh?
No, ma'am, in list, his name is not appearing, ma'am.
Yeah, he's not there. So let's go to the next one. Maybe he's having some difficulty. Manish.
Yes, ma'am. The council seeks permission to approach the Honorable Court.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Manish Kumar, appearing on behalf of the peoples of Tulip, petitioner in the instant case in the dispute between peoples of Republic of Tulip versus Republic of Daffodil. May it please the Honorable Court, the council seeks permission from the Honorable International Court of Justice to collectively address the bench of as Your Honor.
In the international forum, you usually address the court as Your Excellency.
Okay. The council has approached this honorable court under Article 36, Clause 2 of the International Court of Justice if the court thinks it appropriate to proceed in this manner. We humbly submit this jurisdiction.
Continue.
If your honors are well versed that the facts of the case, the council seeks permission to present the pleadings.
What are the facts on the basis of which you're making your claim?
The facts of the case is peoples of Republic of Tulip and Republic of Daffodil are two countries in the existing international legal order. The Republic of Tulip was colonized by the Republic of Daffodil before
Just focus on the facts which you are using to make your claim. We do not want the full facts. We do not want the history. We just want you to focus on the facts on the basis of which you have made your claim.
Ma'am, Republic of Daffodil violate the international law, and
that's an allegation. What is the fact? What are the facts which say that they have violated international obligation?
And the people of the Republic of Daffodil, over the years, the resistance got organized in the terror group named Armed Group 5, and Republic of Daffodil doing finance and train for terrorism purpose in Republic of Tulip.
Okay. What are the issues?
Your Honor, there are primarily two issues. Firstly is whether it is necessary that the country accused of breach of international obligation considered liable only when it gives direction to terror armed groups which are funded and trained by accused country. And the second is whether Republic of Dafoe can escape the liability of the state funded terrorism by contending that their official armed of personals were not involved in any attack happened by the Republic of Tulip, besides the fact that UNCC inquiries report says the Republic of the Daffodil is involved in funding and training of the armed group 5 in the Republic of Tulip. It is humbly submitted that the Honorable International Court considered the seriousness of the matter on my contention of directive elements by state-funded terrorism that was doing accused country supported by Article 2 and 5 of International Convention for the Suppression of the Financing of Terrorism. That short name is ICSFT. Whether Republic of Daffodil can escape the liability of the state-funded terrorism, contending that their official army personnel were not be involved in any attack happened in the Republic of Tulip, besides the fact the UNCC inquiry report says that the Republic of Daffodil is involved in funding and training of the armed group 5 in the Republic of Tulip. My second contention is supported by Article 2 Clause 1 and Article 5 Clause 3, where financial aspects was emphasized by the International Convention for the Suppression of the Financing of Terrorism. Financial aspect plays the vital role in the present case. The above mentioned convention clearly says that the intention of the accused country was shown by their act of funding and training of the terror armed group 5. The provision of the convention not only talks about funded terrorism, but also include any kind of terror support which affect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the other nation. Article 2 Clause 1 of the ICSFT says that any person commits an offense within the meaning of the convention if that person by any means, directly or indirectly, unlawfully and willfully, provides or collects funds with the intention that they should be used or in the knowledge that they are to be used in full or in part in order to carry out. Article 2 Clause 1 Subclause B.
Carry out what?
Any other carry out
what?
Carry out an act which constitutes an offense within the scope of and as defined in one of the treaties listed in the annex, or any other act intending to cause death or serious bodily injury to a civilian or to any other person not taking an active part in the hostilities in a situation of armed conflict, when the purpose of such act by its nature or context it is intimidate a population or to compel a government or an international organization to do or to abstain from doing any act. Article 2 Clause 2 says that on depositing its instrument of ratification, acceptance, approval, or accession, a state party which is not a party to a treaty listed in the annex may declare that in the application of the convention of the state party, the treaty shall be.
Is there any mention of any treaty between the two countries in the fact sheet? Because you are talking about violation of treaties. So there has to be a treaty between the two parties for these articles to become relevant.
There are international treaty.
Which one?
International convention.
Yeah, is there a difference between a convention and a treaty? Is there any difference between a convention and a treaty?
Yes, ma'am.
So you are referring to treaties. So which treaty is there between the two countries, which will attract the provisions of the
Uh,
articles that you're referring?
एक्चुअली अभी मेरे पास वो एनेक्सर नहीं है जिसमें वो ये ट्रीटीज है मेंशन्ड है.
नहीं, treaties की लिस्ट नहीं चाहिए हमें ये पता करना है that whether our fact sheet mentions anything about treaties between these two countries.
No,
Any
ma'am.
treaty. तो फिर हमें इसका
No,
क्या
ma'am.
हम फिर इस आर्टिकल का क्या करें?
Okay.
Because all these articles are talking about violation of treaty obligation. So if there is nothing about no treaty between the two countries, these articles are not relevant. To tell us an authority which will attract, which will be in your favor, whether a legal provision or whether a decision.
Okay. Ma'am, I am referring a case, a current case.
Mhm.
In the case of Ukraine versus Russian Federation, judgment date 8 November 2019 of ICJ. The ICJ observed that Article 2 of the ICSFT that's belong to financing of terrorism
Mhm.
and training. Article 2 para 1 of the ICSFT is that the personal consent has provided fund with the intention that they should be used or in the knowledge that they are to be used to commit an act of terrorism. The existence of the requisite intention or knowledge raises complex issues of law, especially of fact that divide the parties and are properly a matter for the merits. The same may be said to the question whether a specific
This case is by whom? Decision by whom?
sorry, ma'am.
Which authority has given this decision?
ICJ.
Which year?
2019 November 8.
You have given citation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, continue.
The same may be said to the question whether a specific act falls within the meaning of Article 2, para 1A and B. This question is largely of a factual nature and is properly a matter for the merits of the case. The court considered that within the framework of the ICSFT question concerning the existence, the requisite mental elements do not affect the scope of the convention and therefore are not relevant to the court jurisdiction ration matrium. So, ma'am, in the case of Ukraine and Russian Federation, Russia was a established country of UNO, and Ukraine was colonized, and Russian Federation was doing training and funding of a terror group in Ukraine. So ICJ found in this case the libel of Russian Federation for Ukraine.
Whether they were only funding or they were also giving directions.
Ma'am, they were not giving direction to the terror group. They were only funding and training of that terror group.
Okay. What's your prayer?
Ma'am, only I have one paragraph. After that, I will say my prayer.
Okay.
In the case of Ukraine versus Russian Federation, the Vice President Xu, XUE, is also of the view that in considering the scope of the ICSFT, the meaning given by the court to the term any person in Article 2, Paragraph 1 of the ICSFT cannot be sustained by the rules of state responsibility. In its application, Ukraine requests the court to adjust and declare that the Russian Federation, though its states organ, that agents and other persons and entities exercising governmental authority and those other agents acting on its instruments or under its direction and control has violated its obligation under the Terrorism Financing Convention by supplying funds, including in-kind contribution of weapon and training to illegal armed groups that engaged in acts of terrorism in Ukraine, including the DPR and LPR, the Kharkiv Partias, and associated groups and individuals in violation of Article 18 of ICSFT. As the fact of the precedent mentioned above, the same as of the present case, and the court in the leading case of Ukraine versus Russian Federation highlights the points of supplying fund and contribution of weapon and training are the necessary elements for the liability of the accused state. I rely my case and the above mentioned precedent, so Republic of Daffodil is liable under this case.
The Ukraine matter was a lot more to do with racism.
मैम रेसिज्म का भी था उसमें मैटर, लेकिन वो तो मेरे अगेंस्ट में होगा, इसलिए मैंने उसे मेंशन ही नहीं किया.
But can you do a good without meeting the challenge which is going against you? Can you use that case? So what is against you in that judgment?
Ma'am, racism is against me, but there are the matter of this case is funding of terrorism and sovereignty of state.
Yeah, so then whether the Ukraine and Russia matter will guide us in this judgment and deciding the
Yes,
matter
ma'am.
for us.
Yes, ma'am. क्योंकि इनके जो फैक्ट्स है वो लगभग पूरे ही मैच हो रहे हैं.
तो रेसिज्म तो है ही नहीं, लगभग कैसे हो गया पूरा?
मैम रेसिज्म तो हमारी अपोजिट पार्टी लाएगी ना इस केस में, जो रिस्पोंडेंट होगा
जो वो लाएगी उसका आप जवाब नहीं दोगे? अगर वो एड्रेस नहीं करो तो उनका तो फिर एडमिट हो जाएगा मैटर. जब आप उसको अगर आर्ग्यू ही नहीं करोगे तो जो वो कहेंगे वो मान लिया जाएगा. चलिए नेक्स्ट को देखते हैं. ईश्वर सिंह इज
मैम माय प्रेयर.
हाँ प्रेयर अब हो गई, चलो बता दो.
In view of the facts and circumstances narrative above, it is most respectfully prayed that this honorable court may graciously be pleased to reparation for the damages of People's Republic of Tulip caused by the violation of international law by Republic of Daffodil. Thank you, ma'am.
ईश्वर सिंह जी आप प्रेजेंट करना चाहेंगे? I saw him joining. Is he still here? Not here. I think
my thing is
हाँ नहीं पहले ज्वाइन किया था, अभी फिर से चले गए. चलो नेक्स्ट को देखते हैं. नेक्स्ट कौन है?
Yes, ma'am. Honorable International Court of Justice, I represent as the counsel for the respondent. I would like to proceed with the issues and arguments, Your Excellency.
Continue.
Issues, ma'am. Your Excellency, sorry. Whether first issue is, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
First issue is whether the Republic of Daffodil was involved anywhere according to the international law. Second issue, whether real threat is existing or not. Third issue, whether crime of genocide and Article 2 of Genocide Convention are fulfilled. Fourth issue, whether Republic of Daffodil is liable to pay reparations for the damages caused. Should I continue with the first
Yes,
issue?
of course.
Okay.
But tell us, what are the facts on the basis of which you deny any liability?
Ma'am, facts are, ma'am, actually, first fact was that for years, ma'am, the People's Republic of Tulip was colonized by the Republic of Daffodil before it got its independence in 1955. And while Daffodil is the founding member of the United Nations, Tulip became a member state in 1956. So, ma'am, due to this break of, communication, so there were some, ma'am, differences. And, ma'am, second issue was that according to the...
No, we're not on the issues. I'm asking you, what are the
Facts,
facts, by reference to which you're saying Daffodil is not liable?
Yes, ma'am. I'm stating the second fact. Ma'am, according to the International Commission of Inquiry, according to the report submitted by the International Commission of Inquiry, which says that while the members of the Armed Group 5th were trained, funded, and armed by the Republic of Daffodil, Armed Group 5th did not act on the instructions, direction, or control of the Republic of Daffodil. So, ma'am, this is the second fact. And, ma'am, the third fact was, according to the foreign minister of the Republic of Daffodil, ma'am, he has in a press conference, he has said on 13th March 2011 that armed personnel of the Republic of Daffodil is directly involved in any attack. The question of breach of Article 2, subclause 4 of the UN Charter does not arise. And, ma'am, the last fact that, ma'am, no amount of use of force under international law by the Republic of Daffodil and violates the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Tulip. Should I continue with the issues, ma'am?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, according to the first issue, there was no corroborative evidence, ma'am. The report, which is submitted on 12th March 2011 by the International Commission of Inquiry, states that Armed Group 5th did not act on the instructions, direction, or control of the Republic of Daffodil. The reports have already been rejected by the Foreign Minister of Daffodil in a press conference held on 30th March 2011. People's Republic of Tulip was colonized by the Republic of Daffodil. As there is break of communication between two, Daffodil cannot be accused of training, funding, and arming the Group 5th in Tulip.
But that's the finding of the report already, that you have been funding and training.
Ma'am, actually, for that, let me continue, please. According to the principles of international law, when a civil war takes place in a state, other states are required to remain distant from it, as it is an internal matter of that very state. State which is facing the difficulty due to Armed Group 5th is Republic of Tulip. So Republic of Tulip cannot blame the Republic of Daffodil, ma'am.
No, but are you not training them and providing funding to them?
Ma'am, according to the report, ma'am, but there is no, corroborative evidence is there.
So you're challenging the report?
Yes, ma'am, I'm challenging the report, ma'am.
Have you filed a complaint against this? Is there any fact
No,
suggesting that your country objected to the report?
No, ma'am, I haven't filed a...
Then you can't do it now.
Okay, ma'am.
That's a fact established.
Okay, ma'am.
So why the act of So yeah, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, the second issue was whether real threat is existing or not. So,
Real
ma'am,
what?
according to whether real threat is existing or not.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, according to Article 39 of United Nations Charter, the Security Council shall determine the existence of any threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression, and shall make recommendations or decide what measures shall be taken in accordance with Article 41 and Article 42 to maintain or restore international peace and security.
How is
Your
that
Excellency,
attracted? How is that attracted?
ma'am, I'm coming to the point. Daffodil have not imposed any threat or breach of peace in the state of Tulip. Mere allegations cannot form the firm ground for proving the real threat, ma'am.
Yeah, but their allegation is supported by the fact-finding report of the international body. Not
Ma'am,
really.
actually, in the case of prosecutor versus Tadiq, ma'am, made clear that the threat to the peace is more a political concept. But the determination that there exists such a threat is not totally unfettered discretion, as it has to remain at the very least within the purposes and principles of the Charter. Your Excellency.
Continue.
Ma'am, my third issue, Your Excellency, my third issue is whether crime of genocide and Article 2 of Genocide Convention are fulfilled or not. Your Excellency, according to Article 2 of Convention of Genocide defines genocide as follows. In the present convention, genocide
So
means
whether
any
the
of the...
present act, whether
Pardon?
the present act is alleged to be a genocide,
Pardon, ma'am?
whether the present attack is when anybody is claiming it's a genocide.
No, ma'am, I don't think so that Mr. Girish and Mr. Manish has
Even
mentioned.
in the fact sheet, has it been mentioned?
In the fact sheet, ma'am, let me check. Genocide. Yes, ma'am. It's been written over here that on 11 August 2011, an armed attack on a government building on People's Republic of Tulip killed 200 people. The armed group took responsibility for the attack.
Yeah, so whether killing 200 people is genocide, and we do not know which race they belong to.
That's the question, ma'am. That's the question, ma'am.
No. But if nobody is alleging genocide, then why you are referring to Genocide Convention?
Okay, ma'am. No problem. So I'll just put it aside, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, actually, there's a case on behalf of Genocide, ma'am, Convention, actually. It is as Croatia versus Serbia, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. What is the relevance of that case?
It is based, ma'am, actually, in that case, it's been mentioned. Ma'am, in that case, Croatia applied before the court for instituting proceeding against Yugoslavia in 1999 for violation of the Genocide Convention. It contended that Yugoslavia is liable for the ethnic cleansing of Croatian citizens, a form of genocide which resulted in large number of Croatian citizens being displaced, killed, tortured, or illegally detained, as well as existing extensive property destruction. It contended that Yugoslavia is required to provide reparation for the resulting damages. The court, in its judgment delivered on February 3, 2015, ruled that neither Serbia nor Croatia proved with sufficient evidence that either side committed genocide, ma'am. Your Excellency.
Yeah, but in this case, where is the question of ethnic cleansing in our facts? There's no allegation of ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, ma'am.
Only a violation of sovereignty that you're talking about.
But actually, ma'am, I have included this in my moot submission, ma'am.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
I mean,
You can
memorial,
always...
ma'am. Memorial, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, but in the presentation, you need to explain why. What is the simile? There's no allegation of ethnic cleansing. There's no allegation of genocide. You've written it there. They're asking you the question, why have you written it? Explain to us why. You cannot have an explanation. You cannot have an explanation saying because I've written it in memorial, therefore I'm presenting. We're asking you why in the first place you write about it.
Yes, ma'am, you're right, ma'am. On 20th August 2011, the People's Republic of Tulip filed in the registry of the International Court of Justice an application instituting proceedings against the Republic of Daffodil, seeking reparations for the damages caused by the violation of international law, ma'am. That's why I'm including this case, ma'am, in this.
No, but they're not saying reparation for causing genocide in that country.
Yes, ma'am. They haven't.
Anything loss of life, anybody, they could have been to one group, they could have been to any different set of groups.
Yes, ma'am. There could be a person or a group, ma'am, as well.
No, there are 200 people who died. That's kind of the statement in the facts. But the 200 belong to one ethnic community, and the attack was done keeping the fact of ethnic community. Then it's different. But there's no fact are suggesting that.
Yes, ma'am. It's not been written that it's been on the ethnic group only.
Yeah. So skip this part.
Okay, ma'am. Fine, ma'am. I'm skipping. Ma'am, I'm coming to the fourth issue. Whether the Republic of Daffodil is liable to pay reparations for the damages caused or not.
Yeah.
Reparations are defined as damages paid for the injuries caused by internationally wrongful act, which can take the form of restitution, compensation, and satisfaction, either singly or in combination. In this present case, the state of Tulip has asked for reparations for the damages caused by the violation of international law by Daffodil by intervening in the wrongful acts carried by Armed Group 5th in Tulip. The 1945 Charter marked a turning point in international law when it gave importance to humanitarian supervisory. On the point of reparations, the Charter reflected that the states can benefit from the reparations only if it is able to present a claim. Hence, the point to be noted is that the only claim of Tulip is the intervention of state of Daffodil by indirect means of training the rebellious groups, which is a groundless point without any evidence and ingredients of genocide, resulting in the non-applicability of the doctrine of reparations, which stand for the actual injuries caused, not on the mere findings of the report. In Chojo factory case, Your Excellency, it is a general principle of international law that reparation is to be made for violations of international law. Your Excellency.
Continue.
Okay, ma'am. Your Excellency, Armed Group 5th, which has caused various injuries, brutal crimes in Tulip, has said to be formed when the atrocities against the non-ethnic groups were committed, and in resistance, this group was formed as a matter of fact. Hence, this group is an independent body created in resistance, which makes no external force or state to be liable for the wrongful acts committed by this body. That's all, Your Excellency.
So what's your prayer?
Ma'am, Your Excellency, my prayer is that the Republic of Daffodil is not liable for paying the reparations for the damages caused. And my second prayer is the Republic of Tulip is itself responsible for the acts of Armed Group 5th, Your Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency.
So who is next? Neha is not joining. Vivek, Rishwar Singh, who is present. Rishwar Singh is here. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ चलिए.
The council seeks permission to approach the dice. Good evening, ma'am. I am Ishwar Singh, appearing on the behalf of Republic of Daffodil, the respondent in the instant case, in the dispute between Republic of Tulip versus Republic of Daffodil. May it please the Honorable Court, the Council seeks permission for the Honorable International Court of Justice to collectively address the bench as Your Lordship.
They are referred to as Your Excellency.
As Your
Your Excellency.
एक्चुअली मैं गवर्नमेंट सर्विस में हूँ और जो ये रीशेड्यूल हुआ उसके चलते काफी दिक्कत हुई है मैम. अभी मैं ऑफिस से भाग
आपका
के
कहाँ
यहाँ
रीशेड्यूल?
मेरे पास
आपका क्यों रीशेड्यूल हुआ? आपका तो पहले से है, आपका तो कोई रीशेड्यूल नहीं हुआ.
मैम एक्चुअली मैं जो छुट्टी से मैं देख नहीं पाया मैम. मैं थोड़ा ऑफिस की मीटिंग
नहीं तो
वगैरह में
रीशेड्यूल तो
सभी
नहीं
की
हुआ.
मीटिंग
वो आपकी प्रॉब्लम है. आपने नहीं देखा. आपका कोई रीशेड्यूल नहीं है. आपका तो शेड्यूल्ड है. तो प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, प्रेजेंट करिए. इस सबसे हमने क्या लेना है?
The council seeks permission from the Honorable International Court of Justice to collectively address the bench as Your
The
Lordship.
ICJ judge are referred to as Your Excellency.
Sorry, ma'am. The council has approached this honorable court under Article 36, Clause 2, UN Charter. If the court thinks it appropriate to approach in this manner, we humbly submit this jurisdiction.
Continue.
Much obliged. If Your Excellency, well versed with the fact of this case, the council seeks permission to present the pleading.
What are the facts on which you are relying for making your claim?
Ma'am, in the fact sheet, para 2, third line, often the violation against the non-ethnic community was projected as a peripheral issue by the government according to a report prepared by the civil society organization. The incidents of violation in the Republic of Tulip has proliferated after people from non-ethnic community has took up arms to resist the atrocities being committed against them. In the third para, line 4, the representative of the Republic of Daffodil stated that they have not interfered in the internal matter of the Republic of Tulip and are committed to follow the principle of UN Charter. In the para 4, line 2, ma'am, International Commission submitted its report on the 12th March 2011. In its report, the International Commission pointed out that murder, extermination, torture, incitement, and sexual violation against members of non-ethnic community is rampant. In the fourth para, sixth line, Armed Group 5 did not act on the instruction, direction, or control of the Republic of Daffodil.
Okay, continue. What are the issues?
Ma'am, actually, two issues, ma'am. First one, ma'am, whether International Court of Justice has the jurisdiction to entertain the application of People's Republic of Tulip under Article 36, Clause 2 of the statute. Number 2, ma'am, whether the Republic of Daffodil violates the Article 2, Clause 4 of the UN Charter. Two issue only, ma'am.
Continue. Explain. Present the argument to support.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first issue, whether International Court of Justice has the jurisdiction to entertain the application of Republic of Tulip under Article 36, Clause 2 of the statute. People's
So are you
Republic of
objecting?
Tulip.
Are you objecting? You are objecting to the jurisdiction.
No, ma'am. I am not objecting.
Then why
to
it
the
is?
jurisdiction.
Then why it is an issue?
Ma'am, actually, my objection only the present case not under Article 36, Clause 2, ma'am. Admissible नहीं है इसमें.
Why? Then you are objecting to the jurisdiction. So why it is not admissible?
एक्चुअली मैम इसमें मैंने ये जो डिटेल में बताया है कि ये जो प्रेजेंट जो इशू है ये जो यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल है वो इस पे एक्शन ले, वो इसमें फाइंडिंग के अनुसार उसकी तरफ लेके गया मैंने.
बताओ, हम बना थोड़ी कर रहे हैं, आप आगे करो.
इन द प्रेजेंट
तो जो आपने लिखा है मेमोरियल में, आपको ओरल पे बोलना है ना. अब
मैम जो अंडरलाइन किया था वो एक्चुअली मैं छोड़ आया घर पे, अभी प्रिंट निकला है.
ये तो मैं आपको कॉपी दे नहीं सकती, मेरे पास भी नहीं है अंडरलाइन कॉपी आपकी.
एक्चुअली मैं प्लेन रीडिंग ही करूंगा मैम अभी.
तो मर्जी करो, हमें उससे दिक्कत नहीं है, मगर जो आपने आर्ग्यूमेंट ले रखे जुरिडिक्शन है ही नहीं आईसीजे का, ये सुप्रीम सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल का जुरिडिक्शन है, तो आप वो आर्ग्यू करो.
जी. The first hurdle of the People's Republic of Tulip is to define the issue as a dispute, where People's Republic of Tulip is a party. It was held by the ICJ in North Cameroon case. In order to invoke the jurisdiction, there has to be a presence of legal conflict between the two parties, whose determination shall be objective in nature and not a political dispute. In the present case, the People's Republic of Tulip has asked to reparation for the damage caused by the violation of international law by the Daffodil by intervening in the wrongful act carried by Armed Group 5 in Tulip. Reparation are defined as damage paid for the injuries caused by internationally wrongful act, which can take the form of reparation, compensation and satisfaction, either singly or in combination. Thus, the point to be noted in that the only claim of Tulip is in the intervention of Daffodil by indirect means of training the rebellious group, which is a groundless point, without any evidence and ingredient of genocide resulting in the non-applicability of the doctrine of reparation, which stands for the actual injury caused, not on the mere finding of the report. In the Republic of Nicaragua versus the United States of America, in this case, the US regard the application as inadmissible because each of Nicaragua's allegations constitute no more than a reformulation and restatement of a single fundamental claim that the US engaged in a unlawful use of armed force or breach of the peace or act of aggression against Nicaragua, a matter which is committed by the Charter and by practice to the competence of other organ. In particular, the UNSC, all allegations of this case are confined to the political organ of the organization for consideration and determination. The US quoted Article 24 of the Charter, which confer upon the Security Council primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. The provisions of the Charter dealing with the ongoing use of armed force contain no recognition of the possibility of settlement by judicial as opposed to political means. Under Article 52 of Charter, there is also a commitment of responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security to recognize agencies and arrangement, and in the view of US, Cantadora process is precisely the sort of regional arrangement or agency that Article 52 contemplated. The US does not argue that the application must be dismissed because it presents a political question rather than a legal question, but rather that an allegation of an ongoing use of unlawful armed force was never intended by the drafter of the charter to be enco- encompassed by Article 36, Clause 2 of the statute. It is also recalled that the circumstances alleged in the application involve the activities of groups indigenous to the Nicaragua that have their own motivations and are beyond the control of any state. The US emphasizes, however, that the conclude that the court cannot adjudicate the merit of the complaint alleged does not require the conclusion that international law is neither directly relevant nor of fundamental importance in the settlement of international dispute, but merely that in this respect, the application of international legal principle is the responsibility of other organs set up under the charter.
What is your argument on the second issue?
Ma'am, second issue, whether the Republic of Daffodil violates the Article 2, Clause 4 of the UN Charter.
Yeah.
Whether the intervention has take place or not, directly or indirectly, in a matter of deep investigation, because when there is a difficulty in deciding the effectiveness of the government of the state for in the present case, the state facing this difficulty is Republic of Tulip. Thus, on mere finding of the report, thus the Tulip cannot wash off the hand on the Republic of Tulip Daffodil. So, no intervention has taken place under the international law and cannot held responsible for the act of the armed group 4 under international law, because this group was not act on the direction, instruction, or control of the Republic of Daffodil.
You might not have the Daffodil may not have overall control, but it had effective control. If you did not provide training, if you did not provide funding, it would not have succeeded. It would not have functioned. It functioned because you were providing the support. You're providing the training. So indirectly, you were affecting. You are responsible. You do not have overall control, but you have an effective control.
But ma'am, जो आर्म ग्रुप 5 जो भी एक्टिविटी कर रहा है वो अपने बिहाफ पे कर रहा है, उसमें कहीं
वो
भी
सही है मगर आपको पैसा कौन दे रहा है? वो एक्टिविटीज करने के लिए जो भी एक्टिविटीज कर रहे हैं, पैसा कौन दे रहा है? आप दे रहे हो ना।
पर मैम डैफोडिल ने
ट्रेनिंग भी आप कर रहे हो।
मैम ये सिर्फ मेयर फाइंडिंग है मैम, कहीं भी रिपोर्ट ये डैफोडिल ने कहीं भी कोई भी ऐसा प्रूफ नहीं है इसमें।
आपने तो ऑब्जेक्शन किया नहीं है रिपोर्ट को, रिपोर्ट तो एक्सेप्टेड रिपोर्ट है, रिपोर्ट क्लियर है। या दो चीजें आप कर रहे हो, तीसरी चीज आप नहीं कर रहे हो। आपने डायरेक्शन नहीं दी कि आप अटैक करो, ये तो मानता है वो रिपोर्ट भी, और वो रिपोर्ट ये भी तो कहता है कि आप ट्रेनिंग भी दे रहे हो, आप फंडिंग भी कर रहे हो। बताओ कहाँ लिखा है फैक्ट शीट में कि आप नहीं कर रहे हो, आपने डिनाई किया कि आप नहीं करते हो। ये show me the fact sheet that you are not funding and you are not training.
ये जो यूनाइट मैम जो रिपोर्ट जो आई थी
जी,
उसके बाद डैफोडिल ने मैम प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की थी और उन्होंने सारे जो भी एलिगेशन उस पे लगे थे उससे साफ कहा था कि हमारा इसमें कहीं भी रोल नहीं है।
नहीं, क्या क्या कहा था उन्होंने, बताएं।
मैम इसमें यूएन नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल इन 2010 in its statement at UNSC, the government of Republic of Tulip blamed the Republic of Daffodil for assisting the Armed Group 5. In response, the representative of the Republic of Daffodil stated that they have not interfered in the internal matter of the People's Republic of Tulip and are
Yeah.
committed to follow the principle of UN.
But have they said they have not been funding? They have not been training? Have they said that? They're saying we have not said you do this attack. But have they denied at any stage that they are not funding and they are not training?
No, ma'am. Directly not.
So then indirectly you are responsible, na?
मैम in the case of Nicaragua, funding के regarding मैम कुछ कहा गया है इसमें, मैं वो एक बार read करके बताता हूँ. Funding is a breach of norms of non-intervention, but the court considers that the mere supply of fund to the contract, which undoubtedly an act to intervention in the internal affair of the Nicaragua, does not itself amount to use of force. मैम ये पेज नंबर 17 पे है मैम
जी।
फंडिंग का इसमें ये कहा मैम, फंडिंग का मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये डायरेक्ट यूज ऑफ फोर्स की फोर्स का यूज किया जा रहा है। और मैम प्रोविजन ऑफ
What's the conclusion you are drawing?
Therefore, in the light of the issues raised, argument advanced, and authorities cited, it is most humbly and respectfully submitted that the Honorable Court may adjudge and declare that the application under Article 36, Clause 2 of Statute is not admissible, or pass any other order which this Honorable Court may deem fit in the light of justice, equality, and good conscience. For this act of kindness, and appellant shall forever humbly pray.
Okay. So Neha is not joining today, and so we are done for the day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's stop recording.